Hi everyone, we're back with our next game. Everyone, I'm literally doing this for myself. It's not this dark in my house, it's actually a little bit lighter, but I guess the webcam is struggling a bit. But that's okay. We're not here to look at my face, we're here to look at these beautiful games. In this case, it's a game called As We Know It. This is the second game I'm looking at today, so maybe you missed the first one, or I didn't upload the first one, or I didn't upload this one. So, I can't really explain where we are, or who we are, or what you're doing, or where you are. That's really all on you. Let me just fix up some of these game titles. Trying to be super professional. Oh, beautiful. I'll move that down there. And we'll move the web page as well. These games are all available for you to purchase. I mean, Matter, the previous one, was free to play. This one, I think, is about $20 Australian. I got it in the Queer Games bundle last year. I've been wanting to play it for a while, so I'm quite excited to get onto it. Yeah, so it's on Steam and it's on itch. I am agnostic about which platform is better. I mean, itch is better for queer games, there's no doubt. But I personally have no beef with Valve. I think Valve have been quite supportive of indie gaming, especially. They're a little slow to the gay games, in my opinion, but they got there in the end. And it's just, I think itch is kind of what kept them honest a bit. So in that regard, I probably give itch the edge for some platform I want to support. So I'm playing this game through itch. I tried to play them through itch first, and then Steam second. Just because, I think itch is something quite precious. But that's not to say anything bad about Steam. Okay, where on earth are we? As we know it, it's still a smidgen loud. It's probably not so loud for you, but it's loud for me. Windowed, full screen, sound volume. Okay, once again, this is science fiction. I don't know a massive amount about it. I'm excited to experience it as you experience it. As I say with all these games, I don't really know anything about going into them. I don't know what the content is, so if you are not in the mood to be surprised by unexpected content, then probably look away now. It could be dark, it could be funny, it could be rude. I have no idea, and I try not to judge, although I'm a super judgy person. Can't help it. But yeah, if I come across something kind of bad or good or funny or sad, I might laugh or I might cry. I, make no claim to how I'm going to react. Don't hang me for it. Let's get going. As we know it. Oh, well, here we go. I gave a little spiel, I gave a little essay, and here is, in response, a little essay too. Content warning, mature content and language, alcohol and drug use, intense situations, violence, mild sexual content. This game is intended for a mature audience. Player discretion is advised. Name, Ashlyn Phillips. Oh, what? Please choose a new name. Oh, I like Ashlyn. Right, handsome. Right, I know that was a character dev, but character designer? What do they call those things? Character makers, character designers, person creators? I need to play more games. Sorry. Oh, once again, I am in chat if you're around. Okay, there's no chat on the window on the screen. But I can see the chat. So if you are around and this isn't a recording, drop in and say hello. Not that I'm expecting it. I'm kind of doing this for my own research because I'm helping out with the Queer Games Festival this year. So I'm sort of going through the games to try and grab a few screenshots and get a feel for them. Very exciting. Although this game, I notice, looks like it's a few years older. Because as I said, I got it in the Queer Games bundle last year. So almost 16, 17 months ago. already the backgrounds are amazing. This is another science fiction. So that's two sci-fis in a row. My theory about queer games is that they're a lot more contemporary than mainstream games. Mainstream games are very sort of fantasy or sci-fi driven, whereas queer games obviously have a lot of fantasy and sci-fi still, and also that I don't know what you call that sort of computer game genre where it's just kind of like a bit of a non-sci-fi, non-fantasy, but non-contemporary setting, like Mario Brothers or whatever, where you're just sort of running around giant rectangles. Abstract, maybe. Surreal, possibly. But anyway, my theory was queer games are a lot of that, but actually we've had two sci-fis in a row, so we haven't quite got away from it yet, which is okay because I'm a massive sci-fi person. If it's sci-fi, I probably know it. We've got a visual, the classic calendar icon. I've been working on a game myself, and you used to be surprised at how much work goes into icons, especially in the calendar icon, because you're like, what am I trying to say with this icon? I probably won't read out all of it. As I said, I just want to be here for like 20 minutes, half an hour. I have just done an hour with the previous game, and I do have to go out a bit later this afternoon. It is still afternoon. I know it looks pitch black where I am, but that's just because of La Nina, our third year of pouring rain. But then every time I go to complain about that, I'm like, yeah, but the year before La Nina was like horrible bushfires where everything burnt down and we almost choked to death on smoke. So I can't really complain about La Nina. Humans are never happy. That's what I'm getting out of this. I'm just liking having a little bit of a rant out into the ether. Maybe I could be a streamer. It was a tiny place, much smaller than our house had been, but we wouldn't die here if the power went out during a dust storm. Oh my god, this person was in Sydney 3 years ago. Or 5 when was the giant dust storm in Sydney? 10 years ago? That it literally inspired Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner film. Oh, that's right, we're in an underground bunker. I read on the website. So I know nothing about this game other than the little caption I read under the game. And basically, the world's too hot, we've all gone into bunkers. But there's a waiting list, which I really love that. Once again, I'm searching for those little nuggets of queer politics. And I think the whole idea that there's a waiting list to get out of the, scorching hot surface of the planet into one of the bunkers is really it's quite a scathing concept in a way, Mom, Ashlyn, can you help me with this? Sure, just let me change out of these rags first. Oh, so not only is there a waiting list, but also you've got to wait in your rags. That's really funny. This reminds me a little bit of The 100, this show that was on a few years ago about, people on a space station after the world gets destroyed. I mean, it started off okay, and then it got slightly better okay, but then it went back to being okay, and then it went slightly under okay, but then it went slightly okay again, and then it ended poorly. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think we're going to be fine. I changed quickly and then rushed over. I mean, I love that you've brought rags. You want out of your rags, but you got into the distressed denim jeans again. Then I rushed over to open the tub with our limited possessions inside. We had to leave a lot behind to come here. They had informed us of the limited space. My mother sighed and started to lift carefully out of the box and place them on the various shelves they were provided. Is this unpacking? Are we going to get a little unpacking minigame? I miss all of our things already. That's not very queer of you. Good riddance. We had too much junk anyway. Mum smiled weakly at me and nodded her head. I suppose you're right. Great character art too. Mum stood up and started organising everything into an appropriate spot. I went to our new beds and began to lay out our provided linens. The fabric was very soft and free of sand. I hate sand. No, but also, I mean, that is a low bar for an enjoyment. This bed is not sitting in a sandy, hellish landscape. I felt almost bad touching it. Oh. Yeah, see, you deserve good things, Ashlyn. You deserve... Although, why name your kid Ashlyn on a scorched planet? It's a bit harsh. It's like naming your kid, Plague Child during COVID. We had a bathroom, kitchen area, and separate beds. There was also a hinged table that could be pulled up from the wall, and small chairs that could be tucked away. Wait, I'm just going to check that my Twitter is updated. Yes. Alright. On the wall by the door was a metallic intercom system with a tiny speaker. The floor was hard and made of vinyl that roughly resembled wood. I mean, I love these weird dystopian futures because it's like they could have built something really nice, but instead they let like the sci-fi dystopian people design it. Because I mean, like if I was designing an underground city, instead of like big gardens, I could easily build big gardens, but instead I'm going to give you like Blade Runner, Fifth Element, tiny little cubicles. Because that's my aesthetic. Battery farm humans. I stared at the shower for a while before really realizing what it was. I showed Mum and we both watched the water fall from the ceiling as it was just the knobs. It was incredible. There were even fake windows by the bed, featuring paintings of incredible landscapes with green trees and water, something I'd only ever seen in books. And you still have only seen in, pictures. It was small and wouldn't provide a lot of privacy, but it was safe, it was home. Tough to live in a one-bedroom room with your mum for the rest of time. I don't know if I could do it. Sorry, Mum. The crackle of the intercom made me jump. I looked at Mum and we both looked at the smaller speaker. The voice was understandable despite the static. Well, obviously not the speaker from my bus. In 1 hour, I need all new citizens to come to the community centre for orientation. I hope you all found your accommodations comfortable and efficient. I hope I speak with a different font. Although, someone said to me the other day, no, I saw a presentation the other day at GCAP, a Game Developers Conference, and the fellow was saying that the reason we call them fonts is because of Apple made a mistake. They preferred the word font to typeface. So what we think of as a font is actually a typeface. Because the font is actually the size is like the settings of the typeface. So this shape of these text on screen is the typeface, and the fact that it's 16 points is part of the font. I think that's right. Don't quote me. Correct me. Send me a message. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Insta. I'm on TikTok. I'm on MySpace. I'm on GeoCities. I'm on Google+. I'm on Grindr. I'm on Scruff. I'm on Tinder. I'm not on Facebook. If anyone has questions or concerns, please remember that we are always here for you. That sounds sinister, and not just because of the typeface. There was a pop, and the noise stopped. I started to look over the map that had been in the welcome basket on the table. The layout was simple, but I'd probably still get lost. I was used to wide open spaces, and here there were tunnels and paths all over the place. Yeah, it's like going from a wide open space to a tiny little room underground. I feel like you need like a lot of therapy for that. Personally, I am a Morlock. I would happily live underground. I studied the various hallways and tunnels that connected us in this odd underground city. I narrowed my eyes and tried to will my mind to memorize the lines and words. However, my vision started to blur with the effort. I blinked. Oh, that was animated too. That was nice. Actually, they've got really nice eyes, these characters. I blinked and decided to try focusing on the path from our residence to the community centre. Do you think there will be signs pointing where we go? Probably. There were some that led us here after we got inside. Before I could respond, there was a loud buzz. I hope we do get to go outside. I feel like I'm more interested in the outside world than I am in this Camden place. Apparently the little intercom also notified us when someone was at the door. Mum glided over to slide back the latch and pull it open. I began to reach for a weapon, but I remembered that they had... Oop, my screen's blanking. Oh, that can't be good. I think it's still running. Let me know if it's dropped out. But how would you know? Because A, you don't exist, and B, if it drops out, how would you know? They'd been confiscated. Oh, hello, intruder. Oh, what a great costume. And a great look. I wish I looked like that. Hey guys, we're just checking in with the newcomers and introducing ourselves. A tall woman with short black hair and an attractive smirk sauntered into the room. She wore the uniform of the security force. A uniform I was starting to get used to seeing around here. Oh, she's a narc! Oh well. We've all made that mistake in our game dev, in our queer game dev, putting in security forces. I did it in Space Tyrant. She could be the bad guy. She pointed at herself and took a friendly glance around the room. I'm Eveline Turner, but just call me Eva. I'm assigned to this block, so if you have any problems, let me know. Narc. She winked at me, and I could feel the heat of a blush form in my cheeks. Her outgoing personality filled the tiny room. She is adorable. I'll ship it. I'll ship him. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Is it just you in charge of everyone on this floor? Not just me, Mom? Ma'am? Mom. It's me and a few others, but I'm the smartest and toughest, so she just shrugged, as if it was the only explanation we would need. It was charming. Damn it. Overall, she seemed very good-natured for a narc. I mean, she's going to bring out the cattle prod, right? Like, if I know my sci-fi, if I know the 100, there's a they're eating people. They're going to go down to the food distribution point in this underground city, and her mom's going to be missing. But there's going to be like a delicious new flavor of food pellet. And Ashlyn's the one that's been feeding her into the blender. Is the community center hard to find? No, nothing is hard to find down here. Just follow the signs. All the crowd. Lots of people are heading out there now. Oh, Ashlyn, maybe we should get going then. So, you're Ashlyn? Wait, I'm just going to pause it for not even pause it. I'm just going to post this link in some channel somewhere. Dum-de-dum. Yeah, that is cryptic, isn't it? That was a very cryptic... Okay, that's you. I'm going to close you. Oops, wrong one. I hope you can't see my screen or else I'm in a lot of trouble. Fascinating. Isn't this really interesting to watch? Okie dokie. I think that's what I wanted to do. Now how do I just get back to what I was looking at? That's you. That's you. Okay. I hope we get out of this room soon. I mean, I've kept us here with my incredibly slow playing style. But this is how I get value out of games. I play one move every 10 minutes. I'm still in the first battle in Slay the Spire, like the first room. I hope the game ends soon. I started to reply when my mother jumped in. Oh my goodness, how rude, of course. I'm Camilla Phillips, and this is my daughter, Ashlyn. You know, in the future, we should have future names. There was a Doctor Who story from the 1980s called Something of the Deep? No, not Fury of the Deep. It's at an underwater base, and all the characters had names like, Zorklo and Oromax. And if you listen to the audio commentary that the actors recorded 30 years later, they were like, this story is only set in the year 2050. So it's this idea that within 50, 60 years, all our names have changed from David and Sean to, Gormorax is kind of weird when you think about it. But I think it should happen. If I have kids, I'm naming them, Trillian. So Camilla, no, not a fan. Eva grinned and waved off my mum's concerns. No worries, Mrs. Phillips. Adjusting to the change of living down here can be hard. Yes, can be hard for you newcomers. What does that mean? Her grin faded and a pessimism settled over the room. Yeah, that mum is headed for the blender. So, how are things up there? Not great. The dust storms seem to be happening more and more, and the nearby power station is having a ton of issues. I shrugged. Things only got worse up there, never better. Oh, that's sad. My plan is to go into space. Eva nodded and gave me a small smile. I won't hold you two up any longer. I should really get back to making the rounds. I'll see you both around, okay? It was really nice meeting you, Miss Turner. The feeling's mutual, Ma'am. Mum and I said our overly polite goodbyes as she left. Mum seemed to like her, which was good, especially if she was part of the security force. When I saw that name, I had originally shuddered. The word force just sounded so aggressive. It was probably just nerves, though. Yeah, I think you're right to be scared. Like an underground police force in a totalitarian future where the planet has been scorched. It's not going to be good. I mean, who's the people that beats away the refugees trying to get into this underground paradise, It's not your mum. It's Eva. Once again, what a great background art. Yeah, it's wonderful. A large Welcome to Camden banner had been hung above the doors to the community centre. The room was noisy and crowded. There were chairs facing a small stage and tables lined with coffee and water. Bulletin boards were on the floors with various flyers and notices tackled onto them haphazardly. The stage held a podium, and in front there were two clean but vintage speakers. The man I assumed to be the mayor was talking to some security officers on stage. He stood tall and easy with commanding presence. He looked important. I sat down in an empty seat with Mum and looked around. People were reacting to this new situation in various ways. Some of them were looking at my mum, and I could see little drumsticks in their eyes. A woman near the back of the room was sobbing. And the man next to me was just staring blankly off into space. He watched the last season of The 100 as well. Mostly there was an air of relief. We had been accepted, chosen. We were safe. Now. Maybe for now. A hush fell over the crowd as the man stood to address us. He was handed a small microphone and we heard a familiar crackle of speakers. He smiled and looked around the room. He clasped his hands together and then held them up for everyone to see. There was some hesitant applause. First thing you all need to know is that Camden welcomes you. He flung his arms out wide to motion towards the crowd, and there was more applause, stronger now. In Camden, we know that cooperation is the key to a comfortable life. That's why we must ask all of you to prepare for the Camden Career Festival on Saturday. If I had known there was going to be work involved in living in Camden and job fairs, I think I would have, stayed in my ruins. Oops, wrong one. There we go. It's a yearly celebration to welcome you and to help you all find your place within our modest little home. People over the age of 29, please make your way down to the Soylent facility. As for choosing your career, there are a wide range of options. Each department will be hosting an open house in the evenings starting tomorrow morning. You're all encouraged to attend as many as you like until you find a good fit. There are plenty of options, from the Sewerage Recycling Centre to the Sewerage Treatment Centre. We will need everyone who is capable to contribute, and in turn I am confident that we will continue to thrive in Camden together. The applause was much louder and more enthusiastic now, and once it died down he continued to speak. If work or anything else is stressing you out, I encourage you to take advantage of the many relaxing pastimes here in Camden. Most are free. I mean, the thing about living underground is that I'm led to believe is actually quite warm underground. Like if you go like a kilometre down. So I don't know if they've escaped the heat. Though many of your basic needs will be met, your career will earn you enough beads to purchase a wide variety of luxury items. Is this the San Francisco thing? Fabric, entertainment, liquor, and... oh. Have any of you ever tasted an apple? Apple. People began to move through the room and hand out small red things. I looked down at it and shared a look with my mother. We had heard of apples. I'd even seen a picture of one once. I'm the same, but with all vegetables. I bit into the firm flesh and tasted sweet juice. I looked down at a glorious apple in my hand and heard my mother squeal with delight beside of me. Yeah, they're fattening her up. Incredible. I smiled at her and continued to eat while the mayor waited for everyone to settle back down. He then continued to speak, but I was stuck in daydreams. Apples, nice fabric, it was all so incredible. And all it cost me was my mum. I glanced over at my mother. She was gazing at the mayor, completely enraptured. She clutched the apple tightly, only one bite missing. Is that a little bit of a poison apple, Garden of Eden kind of reference there? I like it. Mum? She only looked at me and smiled, nodding her head. Then she turned her attention to him. I glanced around the room and saw a lot of similar looks. If they weren't being directed towards the mayor, then to the red apples in their hands. Suddenly, everyone stood up and began to cheer. I joined in, trying to hide my confusion. He must have said something, but I had missed it. Mum, why are we clapping? He's amazing, he really is. I think he's inspired optimism in everyone. It's just wonderful. Did they drug her? Were the apples drugged? I guess. What are we going to do for jobs? Mum stopped clapping for a moment. I'm not sure. We'll need to attend those open house things. I wonder what kind of jobs they have. If there is a job for an apple taste tester, sign me up. I held up the apple core for her to see. She seemed to remember her own apple and took another bite. I'm going to go try to say hi to our new mayor. You should walk around and mingle, get to know our new neighbours. I didn't reply, but she had already started to walk away and sighed and glanced around the room. I kept trying to tell myself that this was my life now, but I wasn't sure if it was sinking in. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I could live there, really. It was weird. This reminds me of a game set in that city up in the Arctic. Sort of magic with the barrier. I want to say Solstice. That was a good game too. It was weird to not be searching for food or watching out for strange shifts in the wind. I glanced around the room. There were some people who clearly weren't new here. They stood near a large bulletin board. So many people. The noise echoed really badly in here. I closed my eyes and rubbed the bridge of my nose. Mum was right. But did I really want to try talking to any of these people when I still felt so on edge? I mean, you can't really go from like a Mad Max Road Warrior situation to like, a corporate office environment bulletin board meeting. But we're going to... oh man. This is tough. I feel like... is this choice about are we going to go along or are we going to be rule breakers? I'm going to try and sneak out just because going up to a bulletin board sounds like the least interesting thing in the universe. This seemed like a good time to leave. There wouldn't be a flood of people and I could just look at the info packet thing later. I started to back up and began heading slowly to the door. Everyone was stopping to greet each other, but if I avoided eye contact I might be able to... I bet the mayor's going to stop us. No one else looked as spooked as I felt. It made me feel crazy. I slipped through the door and tasted freedom for a brief moment. Then I noticed that I was not alone. Oh. A man was leaning against the wall, playing with a rubber band. Oh, I see. I wasn't the only one who wanted out of there. He looked up at me and snapped the rubber band. I came out here to smoke, then I remembered that I quit. He held up the rubber band and snapped it again. Got to keep my hands busy. Oh, that's good. That you quit, I mean. This was more social interaction than I had wanted when I snuck out. He didn't seem too bad, though. I'm Jude, by the way. Like in that really old song? Hey, it's nice to meet you. Did that sound awkward? He was looking at me with an intense gaze. And you are... I swallowed and nodded. Right. I'm Ashlyn, one of the newcomers, I guess. I figured, since he pointed towards the community center. You aren't? No. I opened my mouth, but I didn't know what to say. He watched me for a moment, and then snapped his rubber band again. I like the character's got a little tick, you know? Show, don't tell. It's nice. Yeah, so I've got to get out of here. If anyone asks, you didn't see me. He didn't wait for any kind of reply. He just walked away. I blinked, not sure what to think. I shrugged and continued onto our block. I could wait for Mum in the privacy of our new home before anyone else popped up close enough to see me. Yes. I paced around the tiny room. The heavy door opened and she appeared. Were you waiting for me? I want to go to bed, but I didn't want to lock you out. I have a key. No, you don't. I pointed towards a key that she'd forgotten on the table by the box of fresh clothing. Ah, well. Luckily for me, I have such a wonderful daughter. I mean, you could have just knocked. Yeah. So how's the mare? You seem smitten. I mean, yeah. What happened to her husband or her father, I guess? She waved me off and dug through her clothing to find something to sleep in. He's a nice guy, that's all. Are you curious about him? His family made this whole place, funded it and everything. He asked for nothing in return, just wants everyone to live a better life. Like I said, smitten. Mum laughed and retreated to the bathroom to prepare for bed. I was ready to go. I was already good to go, so I curled up in what was now my bed and grateful for the nice new blankets. The small space was unnerving, but I slept facing out to make it easier on myself, to get used to it. I could hear her humming, and it made me smile. I knew I could count on Mum to get a crush on a guy our first day here. Her romantic escapades had gotten us into a bit of trouble before. Oh. Did she, did she date Master Blaster? But hopefully it wasn't something we would need to deal with here. Lights inside of our quarters blinked off, and I tried to get comfortable. Mum switched on her white noisemaker, and I closed my eyes. I'd been shocked that she'd grabbed such a thing, but now it was drowning out all the weird sounds that were echoing through the place. Wait, so the 3 items you're allowed to bring into your bunker, your mum bought the white noise machine. That's such a mum thing to do. Tomorrow I need to find something to do until we get a career open house. It felt strange to not be sealing the cracks and watching out for a storm, but the window door was sturdy and there were no windows. Ooh. Eva? Oh, who are we? Sam, Tabby, Trevor, standing. What are these stars? Stress. What the hell? What are the hell? Oh. Oh, I wish I'd taken a snapshot of that. I don't know what that was. I think it was like how we're progressing with the characters. That is interesting. This is my theory about this year's Queer Games, that we're seeing a crop of visual novel developers who grew up with visual novels. So I think that first generation of visual novels were people who I have a story to tell, but I'm not a programmer. So I'm going to make a visual novel. The tools are easy. It's just a lot of writing and some branching dialogue. It's within my wheelhouse. And so you got these really great stories, but they're I guess programmatically maybe a bit lumpy or a bit simple. But I definitely think, just looking at some of the games we've got in the Queer Festival this year, it's almost like the people who grew up with visual novels are now making visual novels, and not because that they're limited by the tools they can use, but because they actually really love the genre, and so they kind of can see the lumps a bit better than that first generation, and so they've still got the story to tell, but you sort of see these other elements moving in. I think just seeing how we're progressing with the characters, it's such a simple little thing, but it's something that I think as someone who loves visual novels would be like, I wish they did that, and they've done it. What I'm saying is very exciting. I think visual novels are just really, they're kind of undervalued, but underestimate at your peril, because I actually think the next generation of visual novels are actually really sharp. When the intercom finished its annoying good morning message, I rolled over and saw that Mum was already up and dressed. It's one apple. We need to see if we can buy a coffee maker somewhere that still works. This is you've just escaped this desert hellscape, and you don't care about your friends, you don't care about your family, you don't care about saving the planet. What you want is white noise machine and a coffee maker. I'm like, are there no books that you care about? Sorry. Don't you have like a medical issue that you need attending to? I think if I was living in a hellscape, I'd probably have like, you know, frostbite on my toes or something. Coffee was one of those luxury items, but I was pleased to learn it wasn't too expensive. Your mum is already committing you to like outgoing costs. Like you don't even have jobs yet, and your mum's like, I'm going to buy coffee every day. Come with me. For free? No, but it's cheaper than buying the stuff to make it yourself. What? It's cheaper than buying the stuff to make it yourself. Then why wouldn't you just always buy? Oh well. Sleep, coffee. Why don't I drink coffee myself? So I'm going to sleep. Suit yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, I only wanted to do half an hour, but we've already done 45 minutes, so we've probably got another 15 minutes of this stream. I woke up a few hours later. The room was quiet, but I could hear commotion outside. I sat up and glanced around the room, but Mum had not returned. I couldn't imagine what she was doing at the community centre. It was already early afternoon. We were safe in here. I got up and grabbed my keys. It wouldn't hurt to go check on her. I continued to hear noises outside. My heart began to race, and I quickened my movements. This is going to be stressful. We're going to get another little stress star. God damn it. I grabbed the handle and opened the door, trying to steel myself for what I'd find outside. A couple stood watch as two security officers worked on one of the doors. Ask what's going on. Hey, what are they doing? Hallway lady. Oh, I locked us out. They're opening the door for us. I nodded and watched for a moment. They were using some kind of device to slide in between the door and frame. It beeped and the door popped open. The couple began to cheer and thank the security officers, so I backed up and left. It was a relief that all the noise had such an inane cause. Okay, I see a little stress star. I think that means maybe it's gone down. The hallways towards the community centre were lively. I mean, what if the trick to this story is that it is actually a really pleasant place? You know, and I'm expecting it to be like this sort of weird dystopia, but actually it's just a bunch of people doing their best. Oh, no one worried about power failures or dust storms. No one eyed each other under heavy suspicion. Everyone here had gone soft. I wanted to be soft. I shook the uncomfortable thoughts away. Yes, I walked in and saw a lot of people wandering around. Newcomers? Walked around for an hour. Of all the people in Camden, she sat next to the freaking mayor. They were in a rather large group of people, all engaged in discussion. Mum? Oh, Ashlyn, everybody, this is my daughter. Everyone turned to look at me, and I tried to smile, not showing how awkward I felt, with all eyes on me. I woke up and came to find you. What's up? Wait a minute. Just take a moment. Give my voice a break anyway. Alright, sorry about that. We're back. Or are we? Rick is here. Oops. Not quite. I ignored her, calling the mayor Rick. She was spinning alright. Her eyes practically beamed up at me. What's with it, Mum? I thought, like... Shouldn't we be, like, if we wanted to, shouldn't we be dating the mayor? I don't know why, like, the game is so focused on us hooking our mum up with the mayor. I mean, yeah. She's washed the sand out of her body and she's ready to mingle. Please, have a seat and join us. I shook my head. I had no desire for more of his speeches right now. No thanks, I'm going to get something to eat. Then we probably try to decide which open house to attend. Okay, honey, I'll be along shortly. I glanced over the board and something caught my eye. There were postings that appeared more recent. Some of the career leaders were advertising the open houses. A pretty girl with soft brown eyes walked in and stood beside me. Cool earrings. I don't believe... Brown-eyed girl. Isn't that a song? I want to say Rolling Stones or Boney M. I should call Mum and Dad. Don't believe we've met. I'm Gloria. Have you chosen a career yet? I blinked. She was talking to me. I opened my mouth but wasn't sure what to say. She left me a little breathless. Gloria. We're smitten, Gloria. We could always use some great people in the community affairs department. That sounds sinister. I'd like to work with people. I'd like to help in the community. Oh, community affairs. Is that... I'm not sure what I'm well suited for yet. I probably wouldn't be very good at it. I'll keep in mind, but I don't want to rush into a decision. Of course, there is still plenty of time. What's it like to work in community affairs? Lots of fun. It can be hectic, of course. It's hard to keep everyone happy. Well, actually, that's impossible. Trying to please as many people as possible with the big events can be exhausting. Amen. She shrugged and laughed her words away. But I enjoy it. She looked like she wanted to say something. Is your lip tasty? She blushed and looked back at me. That's a good line. I'll have to try that. Sorry, nervous habit. I'm only teasing. You seem really stressed out. She nodded and took a deep breath. I just have a lot of work to do. I should probably get a starter on some of it. Also, you know, we're going to eat your mum. I won't keep you. I'm sure you'll have help soon. We can only hope. It was nice meeting you. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other. This place isn't really that large. I mean, if you can spend an hour in this room, I think it's a pretty big place. I smiled and gave her a little wave as she walked away. Okay, I think Ashlyn was a fan. It's probably cold by now, but it was better than nothing. A man stood at the table, staring down at the various cups laid out, and deep in thought. You waiting for them to do a trick? Not a morning person either, huh? My attempt at humour seemed lost on him, but he looked over at me. I'm afraid I was lost in thought. Excuse me. He gave me a brief smile, grabbed 2 cups of coffee, and handed me one. Forgive me, Micah? I'm Dr. Micah Everett. My job is to run the pulverizers. I suppose I should be encouraging you to attend the clinic's open house. Clinic? I'm head of medical department. Unfortunately, one of only very few medical doctors. It's hard to find people with the stomach for this kind of work. Yes, we know what work you're in. He spoke as we walked together towards the area of our sugar and cream. You don't happen to have any medical knowledge, do you? Perhaps say how best to chop up old people at the limb joints? I know enough to survive. I've had to treat a few illnesses and injuries, nothing extreme. That's more than many have to start with. It is my sincerest hope that Camden can avoid any health-related catastrophes. I bet like mold is a serious problem in an underground city. Or at all, preferably. It was wonderful meeting you. I never got your name. My apologies. I'm Ashlyn. It was nice meeting you, Ashlyn. I do hope to see you at the open house. I ducked into the hallway and made my way through the people going about the day. It was different than the surface. When I got back I sighed with relief. It wasn't exactly quiet, but there weren't people all pressed up against each other. I distracted myself with food, portioning everything out carefully. The fresh stuff would spoil if I wasn't careful. I glanced through the welcome packet while I ate. Hours passed before Mum finally returned home. Again, she was in high spirits. I smiled and tried not to show that I was concerned. The man seemed like a nice enough guy, but he wasn't in a relationship or anything. Rick is so wonderful, isn't he? Oh. Is it dangerous to be left alone in the halls? I don't think it was like that. I think he just wanted to talk to me more. Although, he kept asking me about whether I was savory or whether I was sweet. It didn't make much sense to me. She shimmied her shoulders with pride and began to swan around the room towards the food. That's nice. So have you thought about the career open houses yet? Which one are you going to go to? Mum paused and I saw her deflate a bit. I'm not that good at anything. How did she survive on the surface? Like, her main skills seem to be looking for a PowerPoint for a white noise machine and spending all their money on coffee. Seems strange to have a job. But yeah, but this is like a proper society, right? Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? I smiled and nodded, despite the anxiety. No one had tried to rob us or kill us in our sleep. Things are different now, better. I just needed to adjust. I mean, they have great skin for people that have been living on the surface, amongst ruins. So where are you headed tonight? Any of the jobs interest you? I shrugged. Just go check out the open houses and figure it out from there. I walked into a large open room with several tables lined up. The uniform had been set up and there were lots of little packets of information. A large man stood by a bulletin board and was talking to everyone who came in. Eva. I'm kind of crushing on Eva a little bit. Ashlyn, you came. Oh no, I did the wrong thing. Ooh, quick save. I'm not sure what I had imagined, but this wasn't it. It looked so boring. Eva frowned briefly, but shook it off. I think a lot of you surface landers are used to a very different kind of authority. This is a setup for the people, to protect them, not to control them. To protect and serve. In the case of your mother, to serve your mother. As dinner. Ho, ho, ho. She placed a friendly hand on my shoulder. Come on, I'll show you around. No one will give you a better tour than me. Alright. Since she worked here, she'd have all kinds of valuable insight. Show me all the secrets, okay? She grinned at me. You got it. I followed Eva as she pointed things out. She seemed to have a story for everything. Oh, I can't read out a story for everything. My voice will go hoarse. We'll wrap it up soon. This is kind of like a 3-minute warning, 5-minute warning. That's my locker, that's the cameras, but they're as unreliable as hell. These are the holding cells. She opened a door into a narrow hallway with small secure rooms. No one was inside, thankfully. The idea of being confined in such a tiny place made my stomach drop. Holding cells? Yeah, if someone acts up too much. She glanced at me and her smile faded a bit. Oh, I mean, what are we saying here? Are they like... Hey, not people like you. Oh, I just have to send a message. This is fascinating to watch. We do really. I've gone hours over on this project, really, because I do have to go out soon. I was hoping to get to another game today. Eva placed a hand on my arm, but I just want to see. What the relationship between these two people is. You don't look like a criminal to me. Shows what you know. Eva laughed. These cells are hardly ever used. Most things are resolved quickly. That was all I meant. I know what it's like on the surface, but it's different down here, really. Doesn't sound like there's many trials and justice down here. Oh, back room, and opened. There was a snap, and it lit up to reveal several weapons. Oh shit! Right, we only ever use them when we're dealing with invaders. Doesn't happen too often. You know how to shoot these? I picked up a large gun. It was heavy and cold. They were hoarded by Sandman. That's gold. I love a little bit of world building like that. I handed it back to her and she held out, striking a pose. I begged Vince to let me take this home, but he won't let me. Too bad. That's a real shame. It'd be nice to have something like this within reach. Right? Okay, come on. Back into the room. protecting people, fighting off anyone who attacked, doing the rounds to watch for stuff, lots of paperwork. Apparently she hated paperwork. Went back to the boss, as Eva called him. He didn't seem bothered by my early absence and told me to call him Vince. He seemed content with that introduction and left me with Eva. I wasn't sure if this was the job for me. It sounded dangerous, but exciting. I grabbed an informational pack and then I headed back home. I mean, it's like everything this game is telling us to not hang out with Eva, to not join the security forces. But I'm like, I don't like the mayor. I kind of like Eva. Mum was already in bed. Okay. No, we don't have any stars of anybody. Just, what am I going to do about these stars, people? Okay. Well, I am going out a bit later, so I kind of have to go get ready. Let's save it here. Oops. Where's quick save? Nightmare. Something with hands. Just a bad dream. Okay, yep. Let's end it there. That's fabulous. That's really interesting. It's great world building. Oh, that was probably a bit quick. Just really interesting everything, I guess. Great art, great writing. It's very wordy, but that's acceptable with a visual novel. I mean, people like the wordiness of them. It's intriguing characters. There's a little disjunction between, surviving on the surface and who these two people are. Like, I don't think the mum would survive like 5 minutes if it's like how I imagine it. But why not? They seem harmless enough. Thanks for joining, everybody, or watching the recording of this, or reading about it. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to upload it. Yeah. Hopefully there'll be more games. Talk to you soon. Bye.